Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Lit in English. It is great to be here. It's good to see everyone again, especially with our special guest for this season with me and Giovanni. And once again, I am super excited to have you here because we have been spending a lot of time talking in the past, I guess, 6 months, and now we are having the opportunity to connect knowledge and share what we know and expand what we have learned. And also welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us. I see a lot of new name. Welcome. And just a quick introduction for Lit in English Season 6. We have been running this program since January 1st, 2023. It was a journey, it was a calling, and I decided to start sharing this amazing knowledge. And the more that I share, the more I understand it. And this is such a blessing to having this opportunity to go on this journey together. And because this is a journey, we are going to meet weekly on every Wednesday at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And in this journey, we are going to explore our inner self to gain a deeper understanding of our inner self, and we will lead up a path to happiness as whole being. And I do see that we have a lot of expert in the room, so feel free to raise your hand and share things that you feel interesting, actionable, and meaningful in this presentation. So this week I'm running a little bit tight on time, so I will try to manage it in 1 hour. So feel free to ask questions along the way because this is one of the most important topic we need to understand. So without further ado, let's begin. And this week I would like to do a quick recap on what we did in the previous week. So last week we introduced the six barriers, which are limiting belief, fear of failure, fear of judgment, lack of prerequisite, lack of knowledge, and lack of vision. And these are the barrier that's stopping us from doing what we want to do, to follow our dream, to materialize the things that are most important to us. And all of us, sometime in our life, we can recognize these barriers. And if you can see your inner self is like a stick figure up top here, surrounded by the six barrier. It is important that we are making an effort to break through this barrier from the inside out, because that will give us life, that will give us transformation. So if you weren't here, please go watch one of our recording on the sixth barrier, especially the one from last week, because once you know how to break through the sixth barrier, you will gain future vision. Some people might call it future sight. And thanks to the expanding of your vision, you will be able to lift a limit on yourself. And this is very, very important because whether you believe you can or you cannot, believe it or not, both of those are limiting belief because you can always achieve much higher goal. So once you are able to lift your limit, your transformation is beyond your wildest imagination. And I am saying this with confidence because thanks to the story of my good friend Giovanni here, it has been a blessing to see him grow and the knowledge that he shared with me. So this is going to be an amazing journey, and we are here to learn from each other. So feel free to ask questions and also share your perspective because together we will have a much better understanding of these amazing knowledge that our mentor, our great master, all of the wise men and all of the great thinker have come have figured out in the past thousand and thousand of years. So, all right, let's go ahead and start today's presentation, which is one of the most, if not the most principle in life. And that is the principle of light. And we are going to have 4 principles. So I would like to write in the bottom left corner. And let's go ahead and write the word, the principle of light. So we have the principle of light. Right. So we often hear the expression seeing the light at the end of the corner at the tunnel, and this is going to be very, very similar. So let's start with draw a rectangle at the bottom of the page, and feel free to draw along the way. It will help you understand the principle a little bit better. All right. All right, so imagine that this is a dark room. This is your dark room. And we want to light up the room, right? And there are 2 options that we can try to do. The first option is that we would try to get darkness outside of the room. That's option number 1. And then the second option is to bring light into the room. So if it were you, because this is your dark room, what would you do? Would you choose number 1, get darkness outside of the room, or do you choose number 2, get light inside of the room? And the answer is pretty obvious, because even a young child would know to turn on the light when they go in a dark room, right? Because in the dark room, they can't see anything. So our instinct is that we turn on the light so that so darkness will go away. Well, this is very, very simple at its very basic. When light appear, darkness will go away. So without light, then darkness is present. Very, very simple. However, in life, we tend to try to get darkness outside of the room. What do I mean by that? Okay. So in life, we often have problems, we often have challenges in life. And when we see it, right? When we see darkness, when we see problem in our life, our instinct is that we need to fix it. Okay. For example, let's say you have a flat tire while driving, then of course you're going to try to fix it. And that is very simple. But when we have to face real challenge in life, let's say we have challenges with health. What if we have some challenges with our partner, with relationship, with our co-worker? What about the what about like having to pay rent or having to pay a lot bill that you might not have money for. And we tend to try to fix it. My personal experience is with my health, right? Because for the a longest time, I wanted to have like a nicer body and live a healthier life. And I spent a lot of time trying to fix it. But the problem with that is the more I try to fix it, the more problem occurs in my life. So at the conscious and an unconscious level, most people tend to make an effort to get darkness outside of the room. And you are not alone, because in psychology, for hundreds and hundreds of years, psychologists tend to focus on problem as well. They focus on psychological disease, and they try to fix it. But the more they try to fix it, the more problem they found. And not until the late 90s, when Dr. Martin Seligman and other professor started positive psychology, and they shift their perspective from focusing on what didn't work and trying to fix it. They are focused on what worked, and they enlarge it. They try to get more of it. So it took a long time. It took a lot of money to figure this out. And even big corporation, I mean, they having this type of problem for many years. Well, some still struggle with it today, because when imagine you start a business, you only notice when something goes wrong and you would try to fix it. For example, employee not showing to work, and instantly we were thinking about how can we not having to deal with this situation, how can we solve this problem? And we focus on solving problems so much that after we take care of one problem, another one come up, and the vicious cycle continue. So the principle of life give us a very simple solution. All we need to do is to light up our dark room. All right. So imagine this is like a candle. All we have to do is turn on the light, lit up this candle, and the light will fill up the room. Some might call this being proactive rather than reactive. Rather than reactive. So what do I mean by proactive and reactive? Reactive is what I have been explaining since the beginning. When something happened and you react to it, namely when something bad happened, you react to it and you try to fix it. And that is trying to get darkness outside of the dark room. And I know it's pretty nonsense, but we all do it. And what about proactive? Proactive means you are taking action to be prepared, so that when it happens, you already have a solution for it. Better yet, because you are prepared, the problem doesn't even occur because the light is there. When light is present, darkness disappears. So imagine, let's discuss about health, for example. Most people wait for their health to deteriorate, and then they get sick and they react to it. They go to the doctor, They try everything to fix it. But for those who exercise regularly, eating healthy, they are being proactive. They are taking action to prevent the illness from happening in the first place. So being proactive is lighting up the room with your light. You are being prepared. So it might sound very, very simple when we use the perspective of the principle of light. But believe it or not, like all of us have to deal with problem in our life one way or another. And oftentimes we try to get darkness outside of the room because we didn't know that it was there. We didn't know about the problem until it occurs. And that is the struggle of life that we all have to deal with. But thankfully, in this journey, you will have the tool to figure out what we need to do in life in order to be proactive. And you will be aware of the light source to light up your dark room. When I first heard of the principle of light, my question is that, so how do I turn on my light? In my room, it's pretty obvious. I know where the switch is. But what if there's some room that I wasn't familiar with? What if I didn't even know that I was in the room? Just like some fish doesn't even know that it is in the water. And and for us human, a lot of time, many of us don't even know that we are breathing air, right? We don't even realize that we are surrounded by air. So the journey of understanding your inner self light up, lit up the path to happiness, whole being will help us with this. We will be more conscious. And thanks to my mentor, and thanks to all of the master, they have shared with me a very, very important understanding that one need to have in order to stand above problem arises in our life. So I want you to draw like a house, like a shape of a house here. All right, and this is your house, just like the dark room is your room. And thanks to the wise men have taught us, has shared with us the knowledge that they have gained. And the wise man said, if we were to simplify all problem in life, right, all problem in our life, it will fall under only four categories. Right? Isn't that beautiful? Instead of having to worry about all kind of problem in life that you might not be aware of, now you know that there are only four big problem in life, only four categories. The first one is inner self at the bottom of the house. And this is your inner self. Then the second category is health. When you have good health, you want to do everything else. But when you don't have good health, when you are ill, all you want is just to have good health. That's the irony of it. And on the right corner, this is relationship. Relationship. So relationship could be your husband, your wife, boyfriend, your friend, your parent, your co-worker, every other relationship in life. Super important. And at the top of the house, let's draw some money sign so that we can be sure that this is about finance. Some people said money cannot buy you happiness, but the truth is without money, often people struggle to be happy. So it is kind of important in life. And oftentimes, if you were to look at the house, there's the representation of the four main problems that we have in life. Sometimes it's about money, at the very core of the situation. It's simply we didn't have the money needed to to do what we wanted to do or to just fix the very minor problem. And a lot of time, if we were to just get a referral, if we could just have an expert to help us, if we can just have that one relationship, it can help solve everything. But that person wasn't there and we had to deal with that problem. And sometimes we get sick, like season flu, for example. We was all right, and then all of a sudden we just don't feel very well. And then we have to take a day off of work. What about inner self? Like nowadays, like life seems to get much better. But if we were to look at advanced country like the USA, Japan, South Korea, they are very wealthy. They like when it's come to finance, they are doing very well. But the expert tell us from their research that people doesn't seem to be any happier, even though they are making more money. In fact, Japan have the highest suicide rate, and followed by South Korea, even though they gain great success in financial well-being for their country. So even though these four elements, when we simplify to just four, they have great relationship between one another, and often one category impact the other, and often a big problem come when there is a combination of these four. For example, finance. But if we were to use the principle of life, then of course, let's say, for example, um, if you have a lot of money, for example, then you can use that money to support your health, right? Take care of your health. And because you have money and have good health, you feel very good about yourself. So that also support your inner self. And because you have money, health, and how you feeling inside, you're feeling great inside, you can build good relationship. And through good relationship, you can actually make more money. Like the saying, it's not about what you know, it's all about who you know. Similarly, health greatly influence your finance because you have to have good health to go to work. When you have good health, you tend to um, have the ability to spend time with people more, so that it also improve your relationship. With great relationship, you feel good about yourself, so that also um, supporting each other. And when you feel good about yourself, research tell us that it's greatly improve your health as well. And of course, in yourself also have a great effect on finance. And with good health, you can build better relationships. So it's all interconnected. And today problem is that we was taught that if we can just make good money, we will be happy. So the path that most people take is that they go to school and they trying to get a good degree, and then after that they try to find a good job, and as they have a good job they try to advance in their career, and they think that all of that money will make them happy. just to realize that it might not make them happy. And I make an observation through the life of many of my friends and my mentor in the past. And I had a realization that some of them are very successful when it's come to money, when it's come to finance. But I didn't realize that the money that they had made, it wasn't because they are good at their job or anything. They are actually trading their health for money. They actually trade their inner self for money, and they sacrifice a lot of relationship for money. And at the end of their life, and I'm talking about like a lot of my Vietnamese friends in the US who own, let's say, a beauty salon or something, they work really hard, but then when they get closer to the age where they can retire, all of the chemical that they have to deal with daily had really bad effect on their health. And because they couldn't eat lunch on time, they don't feel good about their health neither. Their health greatly affected by it. And they work so much because they make good money. Okay. They make a lot of money. Trust me. There are so many like millionaire and multi-billionaire nail salon owner and beauty salon owner. But the life that they take is that they couldn't eat on time. They didn't have enough time for themselves. And they couldn't spend enough time for with their family, with their loved one. So it might appear that they are so happy, that they are so successful, but all they have is money. And toward the end of their life, they have to spend that money to to fix their health because their body was all messed up now. And then they don't feel good about themselves because they didn't have any purpose beside working. And now that that is gone, they are retired. They're not feeling good about themselves. And for the relationship with their children or with their friends, they were working so much they didn't have time for them. So even with a lot of money, they couldn't go back to buy back their health, how they feel inside, and the relationship that they had already lost. An even worse situation is that some people they didn't even make the money, right? So they have all four of these um, category, but all of this can be solved with just one principle, and that is the principle of light. Because we are aware of it, we can be proactive about it, and all we have to do is to bring light into our dark room. And this is one of the reasons we call this journey lit in English, because we will lit up this candle and we will lit up other people candle. We are going on this journey together. And I remember in happiness study, there's a quote that I read and I like it a lot. And I think the quote is from the Buddha. And the Buddha said that uh, when the candle lit up other candle, the the life of it doesn't get shortened, but the room will get brighter. So imagine if we could just lit up, right? And then we share our light with other people, and all of our room are getting brighter. And when I think about that, I see an image of one light, one house that lit up, and we share that light to the village. And then the entire village lit up, and then that go to the city, and then let's go to country, and let's go to the world. If you have the privilege to fly, or just look at the satellite, from the top down, when we look down, we can see like the city lit up in the middle of the night. And it is one of the most beautiful things that I have seen. Or sunrise. Have you ever had the opportunity to wake up early, go to the beach, watch the sunrise? It's beautiful. Or climb up high to the mountain and and watch the sunlight. That is the power of the principle of light. And there are many, many levels deep in this principle of light that we can discuss. There are so much that we can learn from this. And I hope that with the upcoming discussion that I'm going to open up in a little bit, we can discuss more about this, because the more we ask questions, the more we share our perspective, the broader our view is. And before we do that, I want to share with you a lesson that I have learned recently, and it's given me a whole new perspective about the principle of life. So you know how like most people are focused on finances. So imagine building a house, starting with the roof, and then try to build the pillar and then the foundation. It doesn't work. I can see Whitney is shaking her head. And then Giovanni is recently building his house. And I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. You can't just build a roof and then build from the top down. It just simply doesn't work. But when you look closer to it, this picture worth $1 billion, because just thinking about successful people who achieves the highest high at finance. All right. How did they do it? I asked this question when I was in my 20s, and one of my mentor, he told me that, Ben, the way that we can be successful financially is very, very simple. All you have to do is to figure out what the world problem is, and then you solve it. You give them a simple solution, and you will be able to make a lot of money. And that is so true. Because have you ever seen the show like As Seen on TV? They show you all of this amazing product that they sell on TV that make your life simpler. And then let's say if you have problem with your house, somebody will come fix it for you. And then if you have problem with your car, someone will fix that for you. You don't even have to cook now. You can go to fast food store and they will take care of that for you. Um, we don't even have like to hunt and gathering anymore. We can just go to the grocery store. People are making so much money from it by solving problem. But the principle of life tell us a different story, because when we focus on solving problem, we are trying to get darkness out of the room. And when we are trying to get darkness out of the room doesn't light up. And this is a vicious cycle that the entire world got trapped in a much larger scale, right? And I don't know why we are that way, but I know that in Western view, I am living in the US, and I know a lot of my friends are living in Vietnam, having the Eastern point of view. But one thing about the Western point of view is that they want to be happy too, right? They want to be successful too. And the Western point of view is that if I can just make more money, I will be happy. If I can help other people make more money, they will be happy too. So they focus on making money. And then 50 years, 100 years later, they realize that their income triple, even increase tenfold. Some people make millions and millions of dollars where they don't even have to move a muscle, and they can still live for the rest of their life. And they are still not happy. In fact, many of those people have to go to rehab center to just find peace. Just peace, not even happy. Just want to find peace of themselves. And they experience all kind of party, you know, all kind of pleasure in the world, but they're simply not happy. And at the very root of it, I realized the world itself is still trying to get darkness outside of the dark room. And all we have to do is just light up the light. So there's a lot of work that we need to do. And even though it sounds like, oh man, we can change the world, and we really can't change the world. We just this one simple principle is just be the light. You don't have to try to change other people. You can just find your own light. Just lit up your light. And there are so many more amazing lessons that each of us will learn. This is just my lesson. This is just my perspective. But together as a collective body, we will gain a much greater understanding than this. And because this is such a big topic, we have to break it down to two presentations. So this week we introduce the principle of light, but next week I will introduce you the seven holistic wealth. And the master share with us that in order to stand above these four arising problems, all we need to do is to lit up 7 candles, not just one, not 2, but 7 candles. And that will give us a long-lasting, a holistic life, a holistic well-being. And that will be the 7 holistic wealth. We will introduce that next week. And throughout this journey, we will do this together. We will expand our understanding together. And when I tell you about the darkness of the world, I don't want to scare you. And what I'm trying to tell you, that is not your fault. It is something we as humans created for hundreds, if not thousands, if not millions of years. So it is not your fault, but you can do something about it. You don't have to wait for the problem to occur. You don't have to follow the mass and chasing that dollar sign, but you can still have a lot of money and still be happy. You can have good health. You can feel amazing about yourself. You can have amazing relationship like what I have had in the past couple of years. So what I'm telling you is that all of it is possible, and it's begin with the principle of light. And this journey of understand your inner self, right? Because the inner self is the foundation of the house. It is the foundation of your house. Unfortunately, it is something that is not part of the discussion in the Western world. But it is part of the conversation now. And this is the journey to understanding your inner self, lit up the path to happiness as hoping, or however you want to call it. You can be understanding your inner self, connect mind, body, and wisdom, whatever it is. We know it's super, super important, extremely important to understand your inner self. Just like a very wise man once said, and when I say wise man, I meant Plato and many, many wise men has come before him. Plato said that everything that we are going to learn, they are not new. We are relearning it, as in we have already known it. It is already in us. And all we have to do is to be aware of it and let it out. So it is almost like we are the creature of amnesia. We forget what we have already learned. We forget what we have already known. And we are so busy with our life that we are forgetting that the most valuable thing is within us this entire time. And I am saying this with such confidence because I have the privilege to meet Whitney and Giovanni in the MA in Happiness Study course, and somehow we were able to have great conversation. And through their experience, I believe that what I have felt for many, many years, I was not alone. And through talking with them, through having the opportunity to learn from the WIT community, from the happiness study community, it is all clear to me that we have something very, very special within us. And there are only a few principles in life that can bring us true happiness, that can give us the peak of happiness. And we deserve to live this life fully, holistically. And with that, I would like to open to question and discussion. Feel free to raise your hand, share your thought and perspective. And yeah, yes, yeah, Giovanni, I was gonna invite you too. So perfect.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. Sorry about that. Wow, there's a lot of things I took away from this one. All right, where do I start? In the dark room. I went ahead and painted something here. Let me open this up. Forget my background. I'm just moving into my new house. So as you can see here, I drew the box, the dark room, right? So what I did here was I added a seed from last week. Okay. And then here we have the darkness going out, and then we have the light coming in. Let me actually lower it so we can see it a little bit. Right. Now, these lines, these red lines that I put here are the 6 barriers from last week. Okay. And if you put a seed in the ground in total darkness without any light, that seed will not grow. The seed has what we first call the limiting belief that there is no light. Okay. Now, once the seed surpasses the limiting beliefs, it goes through each barrier. Okay. Eventually allowing the light to hit it so that it can grow past all of that. Okay. Now, so how does that seed grow? If you go back to your house picture, if you could just go back to it.
That screen again.
Okay, so you have the inner self there. Health and relationship are on the side, and then money and finance are on top. So if looking at the seed, how does that seed grow? What does that seed need to invest in order to grow? And what it needs to invest is willpower. And that comes from the inner self. When we're speaking about us, it comes from our spirit. We have to be willing to do something, to be something greater, to be the light that we want to invite in. That's the only way to add more light, is to become it. It's an extension. Light cannot be created. Light cannot be destroyed. Light is forever. And that's why I firmly believe that, the way we see things, basically, first, what you need, besides eyeballs to see, is the ability to communicate with the light. So our eyes automatically do that. So as light enters through the cornea first, then it goes from the cornea to the pupil. Okay. And once it hits the pupil, then the iris, it controls the amount of light that is coming in. So I just feel like, knowing this, that in order for us to see, to have real, like you said last week, future vision or good vision, we need to be able to see light. Okay, first, now that light is a universal source. It's what I call God. Some people call it source, cosmic consciousness. It's all knowing. It's always there. Um, and that's why it's important for us to become to know that we are the seed, and we need the light. We need to grow towards the light. And everyone has that inside of you. Um, we each have it inside of us, because that one house, you said one light and one house, correct?
Yes.
So to me, that one light is what we're afraid to call God, because of what we think. We think we know what it is when we really don't. The one house is what I would call the wholeness of all of us, because the house belongs to every single one of us. The complete house, all of it together, is what we call the sun, or the whole being, or the one. It's what we know as home. We're all missing a part of ourselves. We're all looking for what home is to us, but it's the same place. We're each just on our own journey trying to get to this one place, home. And then you said something about uh, 7 candles, right? And automatically in my head, I thought of the 7 chakras, that we have to go past each one of those in order to transcend, to be over the roof of the house, and even past that. So I have so many things that I want to write down, and it's hard for me to explain everything because of time. But I wrote down so many notes. And also, when trying to remove darkness, you really can't remove darkness, because all that is a lack of light. So knowing that it's a lack of light, all you have to do is just invite the light in. And I think that for some of us, at least for me, when I went through my experience, that's one of the scariest things, because you think you're losing a part of you when you're really just asking to be enhanced, to be whole, to be one with everything that knows everything. And it could be scary for the ego to let go of what we have built for ours. But everything that we have built, I would say we're not really happy, because it's all been destroyed somehow. It's all come at a cost of our suffering at one point. And understanding that, I just think that if you just really took the time to question what you are, what you're made of, and what is inside of you that allows you to see, where do your thoughts come from, all of these things can help us, get closer to building our own house, so that one day each of us with our own key can enter into that home that we're all yearning to go to. So I thank you for this, because it really made a lot of sense to me in my head, and I wish that I can type really fast so I could just send it to everybody, everything that's in my head. But this is so great, because I think that inner self is one with the foundation that you call its source, God, or whatever it is. And as long as those are always one, there could be no darkness. Darkness is a made-up construct in our mind in order for us to experience thinking that we're separate from God, and we're really not. We're trying to become one with it. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Thanks, Giovanni. Yes, we are very godlike. And I'm saying this using a religious perspective, or a religious point of view. And one thing I realized recently is that when it's come to wisdom or knowledge in general, um, there is the connection to everything. Everything is interconnected, and there are certain laws, certain principles that tie everything together. You can use this to view this principle here. You can use it to improve your life, right? You can improve your inner self. You can improve your health, your relationship, your finance, anything. And for you, Giovanni, somehow you connect so beautifully with the your your I guess your spiritual self, and you are speaking of the concept of the seek and the light and the way and how to connect, how to find God, literally. And I think it is beautiful. And
It's all right there, Ben. I mean, if you look at it, you have a cross in the middle of the house, if you want to look at it that way, spiritually or religiously. It doesn't have to be. But all that tells me is that the way in is right there in the middle path. You know, it's not either extreme, which all the lines curving, those are all extremes, right? And what we want is stillness, what we want is peace, which is right there in the middle, you know, of that cross.
yeah, beautiful. And I totally understand what you mean by there are so much information that you couldn't type fast enough. I love your description with that, because what we have learned in happiness studies, everyone, uh, one of the lecture that we got to learn from the MA in happiness study is about flow. It is a flow state where space time doesn't feel, it pretty much it feels different. And from my understanding, once you enter that state, you are able to connect with knowledge, connect with wisdom. And even though Giovanni wasn't intentionally describing that state, but he was in that state and he was able to receive so much information where he couldn't even write it down fast enough. And this is backed by science. For those who are interested, there is a research study have done in the 80s, discussed deeply about flow. So it is not like a woo-woo things and some crazy stuff that people do or believe. It has been researched and it has been proven. In fact, it has been using in many industry today, and they are still trying to figure it out, to understand it better. But before we discuss for another 5 hours, since Giovanni is in his flow state, I do want to invite Whitney to have some saying. And if you have any question, if you want to interact with us, everyone feel free to raise your hand or just type your question in the chat box. I really want to hear what Whitney has to say as well.
Hello. I
Hi,
didn't know if
Whitney.
you could actually hear me because
Yeah.
I just see Giovanni, so I'm making sure that I'm coming through. And I love seeing Giovanni, so this is lovely. Um, I had so many thoughts. It was just like Giovanni said with the computer. I always wish that there was like a computer inside my head recording my thoughts at the time that I'm thinking them, because will you put your faces back on? I like to feel like I'm talking to people. Thank you. It's it's so weird when I'm just to just see myself. Um, but I wish I could record all of the thoughts in my head. But I'm also trusting that they will come back to us, Giovanni. They will come later on in the right time. So then this was rich. And this is really like six conversations, because I had my mind was all over the place with different concepts and thoughts that we could go down. I will try and just be brief because we're already at the I know, I see, Jasmine. I know it's going to get deeper and deeper and deeper, but we're already at the end. So I think one thing that I think is really important is I love how the house represents the need of having everything coming together. And when everything is together, just like an actual structure, it supports each other. And so when we have those pillars, like if just one was missing, the house would tilt to the side if one of the side pillars was missing. And if the roof was missing, then all of the elements would come in. if the foundation is missing, as you pointed out, the whole thing is just going to crumble. So it's so important to have all of those things. And you think about how, like with finance and relationships, how many arguments come from finances, like whether it's in a marriage or within a company, like all of these things are interconnected. So that's why you see how important it is. But that was one thing. Another was I was thinking about with the finances, you're talking about the countries where they do really well financially, and there are a lot of people who are really successful wealth-wise. A lot of those countries also have a word specifically for death by overwork. Like in Japanese, I think it's like um karoshi, maybe. I don't speak Japanese, so I could be butchering the pronunciation, but I was just reading about this in Vivek Murthy. He's the Surgeon General of the United States. Is a book called Together, and he mentioned this, so it was top of mind. But I'm just thinking about um, you can't go in one direction because everything else will fall apart. And that would be true even if you're going in just the relationship direction. You know, you're missing out on so many other things. If you're just focused on health, you'd be missing out on so many other things. We need all of the pillars. Another thing I thought of was that one of my favorite quotes, you were talking about proactivity, is an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. That's Ben Franklin. And what you said about how it sounds really simple, but it's not easy to do. I like that quote because it reminds you of how easy it is to forget and how we have to be really mindful of it. So it's just like if you do a little thing, a little bit of a workout, a little bit of saving, a little bit of meditation, a little bit of communication, then that's going to save you therapy or bankruptcy or a trip to the hospital or a mental breakdown because you do those little things. And also, I was thinking about you mentioned Seligman and the 90s, but Maslow, Abraham Maslow, even in like the early 50s, toward a psychology of being, wrote some about this. And one of the things that he said that I thought would really resonate with you is he distinguished between geniuses who are really great at a lot of things, but then they don't do a good job of like taking care of their health, and then the actualized people who are balancing all of the things. So, you know, he's the one who came up with the hierarchy of needs, which this I think dovetails really nicely with that. But again, that could be its whole other conversation. But I thought that that was an interesting distinction that he was thinking about these things. And in that book, he writes a lot about like how these are a lot of his ideas that he hadn't proven yet, but now we're seeing that in so many different ways. And I was also thinking that one last thing, you talked about how I loved that you tell everybody that yes, there is darkness, but it's not our fault, and there are things that we can do about it to help ourselves and the world, because it's that sort of agency that calms anxiety and actually gets us somewhere. And if we look at like what went wrong with climate change messaging from, you know, early on, it was a lot of fear mongering. And I think just now we're starting to see some better messaging about little things that you can do, big things that you can do. Because if we're just terrifying people, then that serves no good. So I love the empowering message that you share. That's all for now. We could
Wow.
talk for an hour on each one of these.
Thanks, Whitney. That is
Yeah,
amazing.
thank you.
Yeah. And this is why I love to talk to Giovanni and Whitney, everyone. And thank you so much for joining us, because I feel like I just provide information, and then Giovanni gave a really powerful perspective on like a religious point of view. And then Whitney come in with her scientific point of view and throwing scientist name around. And it is so beautiful because we have a three perspective, and I understand this so much better now. Because to be very honest with you, I didn't think about the seed and how the seed need the light to grow beautifully, by the way Giovanni described. And then I didn't look at the scientific point of view of how the house need all of the elements to maintain to stay together, and then all of the previous research done in the 50s and the 90s. And there are so many great scientists that have believed, right? Because they have to believe first in order to do research, to prove it to other people. They have to know that it was important enough to do this. And you guys put it beautifully. And, and you know what? In the beginning of this week, when I think about today, I was like, oh, I'm super excited about Wednesday. We are going to discuss the principle of light. And then a thought come to my mind at that very moment that I was like, Whitney need to write a book about this because she is the writer, she is the editor, and she is so wise. And there is no any other person that I have know of should write the book called The Principle of Light, because you are like a light to to everyone, not just me. I'm sure that every interaction that you have, you're just full of energy. You are like so joyful and such a pleasure to talk to and learn from. And if you can just like write a book about what you tell us just now and provide people more information. You said you can talk about each of these topics for an hour. Well, write a book so you can just share it with other people so you don't have to present your idea like every single time. And this,
Let's team up on that. I'm
yeah,
down.
yeah, because the world needs this so much. And you have the information, you have the skill, and I think this is your calling. And what have you done with it so far? It might be time to just follow your calling, and this is beautiful. Giovanni, write some Vietnamese in the chat, guys. I think that is for you. But well, I know that we can talk about this for another 10 hours or 10 days, but I do have something else that I, I need to go to. But if anyone in the Zoom call would like to interact, ask a question or just say hi, feel free to raise your hand. We can interact a little bit before we say bye to each other. And this is not goodbye, guys. This is a journey. Every Wednesday we can meet, and we can stay a bit later next week, for example. But it is very flexible, and I feel like this is a very warm, very heartwarming community already. Thank you so much for being here and joining us. It's Siobhan.
And I feel like people want to say something, but they're scared. Don't be scared. You might be helping somebody else. That's the whole thing about sharing light. Sometimes we have to decide to be the first ones to share it. So.
Well, I would be scared to share too because you guys said it so beautifully.
That's what I was about to say after we ramble on. But hey, we have a taker again.
Yeah. Hi, Quinn. Feel free to unmute yourself.
Hi, Quinn.
Hi everyone. Okay, since nobody raised their hand, so I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go. Even though like I didn't really plan to share anything today, 'cause it's my first day. But it already feels like I'm home. When I listen to you, sharing your wisdom and knowledge and lessons, and it's just like a beautiful flow that I can feel. And like this like humbling feeling. Like I always get either from the master or from the mentors. Is always like emanates the same feelings, which is incredible. Like it's just beautiful. And I guess that is the effect of the light. Like I enter the Zoom and instantly I feel the light just like everywhere. And I really love Giovanni's perspective about the cross. Like I never thought of it that way, and I'm not Christian, but I believe in higher self. And so it's like just like wow, that's so fantastic to view it that way, and it makes sense as well. And this is just my reality. I want to share a little bit. I know about Master, I think a couple of months ago, and then I joined his course in Vietnamese first. And I myself also have been a coach and a mentor for a couple of years. And so when I joined his course, it's just mind-blowing to me. Like my 9 years of studying, and learning and experience, all of those things, all in one, in this course. And so just like, I'm sorry, I didn't catch your name, like the main speaker today.
Oh, Ben, sorry.
Oh,
I
Ben.
haven't changed my
Okay.
name.
Yeah, sorry. So when Ben said this is like worth $1 billion, like this principle of light, I totally agree. I totally agree. Like I spent so much money like learning, from let's just say like popular teachers and coaches in the world. And yet they still had that focusing on solving problems. And we were like taught that, okay, if you want to make money, then you just solve problems for people, and that's how you make money. And up to some point, I just felt like, but this is exhausting. And it just doesn't feel right. And I want to enter into the state of just creating, creating beautiful things, not just like healing wounds and solving problems, but why not just creating cool, great stuff? Then the shadow just disappear itself. And that's when I set intention to meet someone Vietnamese that wise, because I had been studying with like coaches from all around the world, but none of them was Vietnamese. But I just felt like Vietnamese, like we're so wise and intelligent and deep. And I just like I believe there's someone out there that is so great that I just need to shift my mindset to see him. And I'm ready to meet my teacher. And that's how I found him. And it's really interesting because a couple of weeks prior to that, I actually wrote down in my journal, like, okay, so after 9 years of, coaching and stuff, I realized there's just 4 key factors that we need to focus on, which is inner self, health, finance, and relationship. And I just had this question, like how to grow more abundantly in all those 4 of those all together. But I want to do it with a master and a family, a community. It's just so much fun to do that, together than just by myself. And so I found it. And since then, my whole life just like turned upside down. And I literally cry almost every day, but not out of like, sadness or misery, but really deeply, I feel so grateful. I feel so grateful. Like, I don't know what I did in my past life or in this life to deserve such a great teacher and teaching. And all of my resentment towards my ex-boyfriend just disappeared. And I turned from super resentful to now super grateful for him. And I actually reconnected with him and we become great friends now, which is incredible. Like, I never thought I could actually do that within a month because the course lasts 21 days. And I just woke up after every day feeling much lighter and lighter. And it's just beautiful to see that. And also my health got so much better. No more back pain, neck pain, just disappear. I guess all of, like emotional baggage just like lifted off. And my body, like the temperature is back to balance now. Before I got really cold feet and hands, but now they're just warm. It's just like I feel more full of light right now. And I can see that also like impacts, like my current clients, my family, my friends, anyone I see like within the day, I can feel, like they being touched by that light that I am so honored to have received from our masters. So really like I just want to show my gratitude. And it's still a long way, to really go deep and implement and even go deeper, and embody all of this wisdom. It's a long way, and I can't wait, to see what's gonna unfold in the future. So thank you so much for holding space for me to share these words that I have been kind of like holding back. So I guess today is the day. Thank you
Thank,
so much.
thanks, Quinn. That is so beautiful. Where are you from, Quinn? If you don't mind sharing.
I'm from Vietnam.
Oh, really? Your English is really good.
Thank you.
Do you learn that from Vietnam?
No, so I went to high school, secondary school, high school here. No, secondary school here, international school, and then I went to Singapore for high school and universities. So yeah, and it's already my intention to join mentor and master. So it's just gonna be a matter of time for me to
Beautiful.
be in the arms of spreading light.
Yeah, like Jasmine said, your English is better than her. Your English is better than me. And you live in Vietnam.
It's better than mine.
Oh no, come on.
Proper.
Well, I guess thanks to my teachers in high school and universities.
Yeah. My sister used to go to international school when she was in Vietnam as well. And all of the teachers out there was like, I wouldn't want to say foreigner, but English speaker. So they study under an environment where they have to like learn it in English. So in a way, their English is better or proper, more proper than someone like me who like learn myself. And
Wow, you
but
learn by yourself.
yeah, but it's all good. It's not well, obviously it's not about English, but thank you
Yeah.
so much for sharing your story. It is so powerful. And it's only been 21 days and you have that transformation. Congratulations. And
Thank you.
please join us. We need more people to just come along, going on this journey, share what we have learned, what we have known. And we together we are better. There's no better way to say it. And obviously you are so passionate about it. And we need more. We need more people like you. So thank you so much for speak up, to speak your mind. I've learned so much from it, and I'm sure others learn a lot from it as well.
Thank you so much, Ben. I appreciate it.
Yeah,
Wow. That was great. Quinn, thank you for speaking up because I think it was necessary. I think other people needed to hear that message, that they too can experience that, you know. And I think that what you did was so beautiful, because you're showing that, you know, all the choices that you're making, you determine your value already, and that value is the light that you're receiving and that you're giving. It's radiating off of you, you know. And I think what you're doing by intentionally choosing light is you're kind of not making it a choice for darkness to enter. You know, it cannot, and there's no way that it can enter now once you experience something like that. So, you know, you're definitely on the right path, and I appreciate you sharing that story with us. You know, it was beautiful. Thank you.
Oh, appreciate that, Giovanni. Really do. Thank you.
Whitney, would you like to comment real quick, and then we wrap
Yes,
this up?
I did, because I'm so grateful that you mentioned the shadow, and because that was the one thing where I was like trying to go through my brain and remember all of the things, and that was the thing that I forgot to talk about was the whole like focusing on the good and the positivity, and then that's where you put your attention is what you're going to magnify. When we appreciate the good appreciates, and you are definitely appreciating the good, and you just brought such appreciative energy, and that lightness that you felt, you reflected back and magnified. So I'm just grateful that you were brave and that you shared your light with us. So thank you.
Oh, thank you. I'm getting emotional, you guys. Thank you.
Well, thanks, Whitney. Thanks, Giovanni. I see Jessie raise her hand, but before I invite her, I want to comment on, well, Quinn did an amazing job, and you guys give her a lot of like comment already. So, but I want to say something about Giovanni. Um, Everything that you said, bro, like it, it is scary. It is scary accurate, because everyone, Giovanni, hear this for the very first time, and the way he explaining the lesson and the way he expressed it is just like what the mentor was said it in Vietnamese. And this is what's so impressive about Giovanni, that I am so amazed in many, many months, because somehow he's just able to tap to that source, able to tap to that knowledge, and he projected out so naturally. And I'm making a comment on this because I want to share with Quinn that whatever you dream of, it is possible. So just believe in yourself, go on this journey. You are not alone. We are your fellow journeyer, and together we will go very, very far. And the importance of having this conversation is that we can see different perspective, right? I just provide the information. Giovanni gave his perspective very religiously, and Whitney using her scientific lens, and through a lot of different perspectives, through many, many lenses, we can see clearer and better, because this is multidimensional type of knowledge. So together we are better, guys. All right, Jesse, please.
Hello, Ben. Hello, Whitney. Hello, Germany. Hello, everyone in our Zoom meeting today. So happy to see all of you here. I'm so excited to join this meeting every week. You know that. Thank you, Win, for today joining. I know that the first time you are here, but I'm so appreciate what you did for us. You speak up and you make me want to say something. Actually, I'm so proud of you because you are a Vietnamese, but you're so how can I say that, you so easy to simply to believe in what you're learning from the master. And actually, today I would love to say thank you to Ben and Jasmine because you guys helped me in the way of learning the thing belong to inner self, but in English. You know that in last week I said that before my barrier was about languages, but now I'm not sure, but I'm on the way to achievement about 10 languages, because I see that I can do it. I can break my barriers. And now you know that in the past I was learn about French, Chinese, English, but now I can study more about Spanish, about Japanese, Korea. Too much to remember, but total about 10. And you know that why I choose to study about that? Because my grandmaster, he told me a quote that I need to um, think more about myself, because you know that we learn languages. He told me a story, not a quote. But today I would like to say something about that story. And I think this is the main reason I would love to share it when Ben talking about the principle of light. Because talking about language, there were a story that in the past we are talking the same language, but for a time I remember this story Ben had told it, but I would love to share it again. So, but so there a time and the king of that kingdom, he made he made a decision that he would love to build a toy or something that I did not remember clearly, and that were a thing that the people on the how can I say, not remember, the people in the sky, they see that and they would like to stop that way, so that they decided to break the people, and they make the people talk too much language. And because of that, we cannot understand what we are talking. In the past we had just one language, but now we have too much language to talk, so that we are so misunderstanding. And because of that story, I think that when I learn languages, I can make it in the future. I can talk more about the knowledge. I can share more about the knowledge, and I can share something belong to the inner self, what I have learned, what I can learn, and what I can help people, like Ben and other people are doing by another languages, and so that we can have the same language, but not the which language, English, Vietnamese, or anything, but just same language, that inner self language. And at that time, we can understand more about ourselves and other people, so that we can help ourselves, our friend, our relative, that we can understand more how can to achieve the way, the life that we want to achieve. So that I think that it seems like when we bring the light to the darkness room, and this is the story that I would love to share today with all of you, because this is why I choose to study more language than I would love to do. And now I think that study languages simply like a thing, a habit of my daily activity, and so simply just about 10 minutes, 5 minutes, and maybe in some next month I can talk by Chinese, French, and other languages, and we have more friends from another country to join our community. And that's why I'm so appreciative what thing Ben have done for us, what thing that Whitney, Giovanni, and all of our friends in MA of Happiness have done for us, and what thing that my grandmaster have done for us, because that's where that will be a big picture for our life in the future. And I cannot imagine how big enough to say about that. Yes. And I'm so thankful for the time that I can join today meeting, even though I'm at work. Thank you for Giovanni and Whitney for being the special guest for the lit season 6, right? Thank you so much. Thank you, all of you. Thank you. Yeah.
And Jesse. And with that, I guess we have to say bye to each other. And this is not goodbye, guys. This is a reoccurring Zoom meeting. So we will have this, I guess, every Wednesday for a while, for the next couple of months. So thank you so much for joining us. And I really am prioritizing this because I have another important meeting that I needed to go to, but I was like, I'll probably learn more here. And I did, because this is the deepest principle of light presentation that I have ever heard, right? And Giovanni, Whitney, you might hear Quinn and Jesse talk about our master and grandmaster. He is having a class right now that I am supposed to be over there. But I was like, he probably want me to do this, so I'm just gonna do this. And then I'll talk to him later. And this is such an eye-opening. I know you guys coming in here to hear me do this presentation, but the reality is I have learned so much from your perspective. And it is so amazing that you are hearing this for the first time, and you have such a profound understanding of this principle of light in so many levels deep, and kudos to you for that. So please speak your mind whenever you have lesson. We all can benefit from it, and I value you guys so much. Thank you so much for being here. Yes.
I just wanted to say one thing to Jesse, one thing, because it's just coming to me right now. So just like Quinn, Jesse is following the light. And whenever we follow the light, we're trying to go back to oneness. And what she said was, in the beginning, we had one language, right? And I wrote in the chat something that I had written in my journal, which is that truth is the dialect of the soul whose universal language is love. How could Jessie ever have enemies anywhere once she learns all the languages? You cannot have an enemy. That's nothing but love, which is light is love. So thank you for sharing that. I really appreciate it.
I think Jesse still raised her hand. So please, Jesse, feel free to unmute yourself.
Yeah, thank you, Ben. Thank you, Giovanni. I would like to say something that on our graduation, maybe our grandmaster will come there, so that hope that we can meet there, and we are attending to come there. We are preparing something that we can join that graduation, and hope to see all of you there. And I heard information that our grandmaster, he want to join that graduation for us, and I think that Whitney, you want to meet our master, right? So that hope to see you guys there, and actually, I'm so happy. I cannot imagine that one day I can join this way with him, with all of you guys, and so thankful for that my grandmaster has helped me when I was a little child. I have chance to meet him, so that if I have time, I can share more about my story, but not available in this meeting. So yeah, I just say something about that then. Thank you.
Right, thanks, Jesse. And with that, I would like to end this presentation by crossing out this darkness, and let's be proactive instead of reactive. Let's lit up that candle, and I will see you next week. Have a wonderful the rest of the week, and can't wait to see you soon. All right. Bye-bye, everybody. Have a wonderful day. Thank you so much for joining us.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.